And there we have it. And now we are live, and welcome to our amazing and wonderful panel discussion on mastering the law of attraction, something that's close to my heart because I've been working with the law of attraction all my life, but we have with us today some incredible women from all over the globe, especially in Australia, which we will introduce, who are experts on the law of attraction. And what is it about the law of attraction, if I can ask for everyone who is watching? You know, I'm sure a lot of the people in the world have heard of The Secret and this concept of manifesting, and, you know, if we like attracts like. But yet I also know there's a lot of people who practice the law of attraction or are interested in the law of attraction, but don't quite get it, that they're not able to manifest what they want, but instead manifest what they don't want, which is a wonderful concept today. But it's not about me, and it's not just about the law of attraction. It's about these beautiful women who are joining us. So let us introduce them and introduce everyone, bring everyone on board, and have our wonderful conversation on the law of attraction. So can I start with our beautiful I Am Magnificent, otherwise known as Jenny, who's joined us first. So Jenny, welcome to today's panel discussion. I know this is your very first one, and I'm actually honoured to have you on this one. Can you just let us know a little bit about yourself and what interests you in mastering the law of attraction?
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I mean, I love this topic because my journey has included being very blessed and creating the lifestyle that most people would say they dreamt of. You know, the big businesses, the multi-million-dollar businesses, the houses, the travel, all that sort of thing. And I had been studying the law of attraction, and I thought, you know, how good we were doing, but I actually got a bit arrogant and cocky, and the ego took over and grew a bit too quick, too fast. One of my coaches said to me, he said, "You were going like a Ferrari, and when the Ferrari crashed, it had to be a major crash." So, you know, we're featured for creating 33 positive cash flow properties in 18 months. We were free. We were doing property developers and all this sort of thing. But we didn't have the foundations that the law of attraction potentially can offer us when we come from an understanding of who we are from a higher perspective compared to the mind. So the mind just took over, didn't have any great common sense in there, and it all crashed, and we literally lost everything. There was a day that we got down, we lost the family home and everything, and there was a day we got down to $4, and I'm screaming at God, this is not who I am. And he said, get off your ass and are you ready to learn, sort of thing was the message. Get back, start coaching people. And I thought, want to listen to me, I'm such a stuff up. But then that ended up being what they liked, because I'd travelled the journey, and we're now living on a beautiful 100 acres, debt-free, a life that we dreamt of that thought we'd cost millions, but it didn't. So it was about being in alignment with the law of attraction and the other surrounding laws that dance with it.
Thank you. Definitely want to know that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And I said we want to get to know more about the journey over the discussion. Thank you. What about Anna? So tell us about you, Anna, and again, what interests you in mastering the law of attraction in joining our panel today?
Yeah, so I've been interested in quite a while and always into the mystical growing up. For the law of attraction, I think probably really amped up my interest and practice about 3-4 years ago, and I read The Magic by Rhonda Byrne. And so in my life, I guess it was things that were just humdrum. They were just kind of going as they were going. And I did that 30-day or 28-day process, and I just found so much fun and adventure in the day. So everything felt more connected. There was a little miniature adventure. There was that state of flow. So for me, certainly to manifest things and experiences, but definitely just to have fun as well. So the adventure of life, it brings that unknown, that kind of conversation with the universe. And I love it.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And I said, thank you for joining us. And again, this is your first panel discussion. So we're really honoured that you're here today with us. And our amazing Helen. Tell us about you, Helen, and why did you sign up for this panel discussion?
I discovered the law of attraction probably 9 or 10 years ago. I was really, really lost who I was. And coming into that whole realm, I loved the concept that we don't have to settle. We can actually create our life, and we can create it to be whatever it is that we want it to be. And like you, Anna, I love the fun of it as well. And just it's fun to see what happens, and it's fun to see how fast things happen as well. And just the other day I was thinking, oh, I need to contact this lady, see how she's going. She's got lots of headaches and things. I must do that. And then I forgot about it. And then the next day this post came up in the group, and it was on headaches. And it's like, thanks. I'll just tag her in that. So I love the fact that we can choose. Everyone's got free will. We can choose to create an amazing life. We can choose to create whatever life we want, but we have that power to choose. And it's so fun that when you really get into it and you start understanding it and you start understanding how it all works, it's so much fun.
It is, absolutely. Totally agree. And that's the biggest thing, is just to have fun with life and have fun with what you're attracting.
Life's meant to be
want
fun.
to attract more fun stuff. Well, when I say, I'm sure a lot of people in the world would like to attract fun into their life instead of
absolutely.
So let's thank you. And then we have Linda. Welcome, Linda, and thank you so much for joining us from the other side of the world. Our wonderful panelist who is overseas today. So, Linda, tell us about you, and again, what interested you in joining our panel today?
Well, I am an energy coach, so my focus for the last 26, nearly 27 years since I started my business has been energy, understanding energy, learning about our energy in the body, the energy of our environment. And so I would say the law of attraction is just a natural part of that. The more I learned about energy, the more I understood that we attract to ourselves basically in alignment with the energy that we are putting out. And I was always brought up to really work hard, like many people, and I was really good at hard. I was really good at struggle. I was really good at overcoming struggle. And so I had a lot of it, and the more I began to learn about energy, and I started to realize I don't need to struggle, this can be easy. And just having that mindset shift around what life could be like for me, for my clients, how could it be more enjoyable? The concept of joy for me at one time, it was so far away from what I could comprehend. I couldn't even stand it when somebody mentioned the word, find your joy. I would be irritated with that, because I don't know where it is. Where do I find this joy? But now, I'm just so completely different. So it's a life changer. It's a game changer. It's once you start to understand energy, and people, especially when people feel like there's no hope, or there's, they're really stuck, or there's real struggle. And then they learn that they can change their whole situation just by changing their energy, changing what they're putting out into the world. It really is, it's a wonderful thing. And I love being part of that. I love sharing that. And there are, people see some amazing things they never thought would change. Not only do change, but change often in ways that are so much better than anybody could have dreamed of. So it's a very powerful thing. I love it. I just love playing with it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I think you're speaking not just my language, but the language of a lot of people. You know, when we start off on our journeys, or a lot, you know, in our life, that, you know, it's meant to be hard. We live in a world where we grow up believing life is hard, where it's actually not. So definitely want to go into more of that very, very soon. But before we do that, just a quick hello again to our beautiful Denise, who's joined us. Thank you so much, Denise. And we're just going around and saying, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself and what interested you in joining our Mastering the Law of Attraction panel today.
Yeah, I feel just by listening, I know I wasn't here for all of it, but just listening to the last two ladies, you know, we all come from that place of where we recognize and something's happened in our life that's turned us upside down to take a look at our life and take a look at how we're moving in our life, and truly recognizing that it's all the responsibility of me to direct my life, change my life. And that's the law of attraction. That's, you know, when we start taking notice of ourselves, then we see the law of attraction working around ourselves and within ourselves. And, you know, that was very much my story as well. You know, life gives us lemons to make lemonade. You know, so taking that and all the stuff that had happened, what I know with law of attraction, there's no right or wrong. There just is.
Yes.
And we get to go from that place. We can either take it as a lemon, or we can take it as lemonade and start living that way. So we get to choose, in effect. And I think, you know, law of attraction is everything around us, giving us those little nudges, those little messages to say, hey, where are you? Are you on the track you want to be? Are you seeking out that dream that you've always dreamed of? You know, that to me is law of attraction. And it comes from a state of life where we stop and go, hey, who am I? Why am I? How am I? What am I? Everything about ourselves. And it seems, you know, we can take it as selfish, but it's not. I'm the most important person on this universe. You're the most important person on this universe. And we come together to create joy and love and peace and harmony and compassion. That's the law of attraction. And, you know, people go, oh, you know, it's so hard to get, but we're all looking for that.
Yes.
It's just coming back to ourselves to find that.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Denise. And I said, I'm honoured to have you with us today. So can I go back to Jenny just to start our real conversation? And what I'd like to do is just, you know, like, let's go back to the basics. What is the difference, or how do you see the difference of just wishful thinking and genuine alignment with the law of attraction? You know, is there a difference?
Yeah, I really believe there is. As you mentioned in the beginning, you know, a lot of people read The Secret, and it just sounded so simple, you know, just put the thought out and it'll happen and it'll manifest. But in studying the 12 laws of the universe in quite an in-depth way, I started to see, especially the first 3 or 4, how they actually exist as one. And the law of attraction wasn't necessarily just its own standalone. There was a law of oneness, which, depending whether you were coming from the connection of who you truly be in your essence, or whether you were coming from the mind story. And there was sort of 6 lies that were trapped in that ego journey that kept us trapped in the old loops, the old beliefs, and then there was the law of the vibration, and that was, well, if I'm vibrating at what we may know to be a victim consciousness, a victim level, that what we put out comes back. What's inside's outside's the reflection mirror, that we kept getting the same thing over and over again. And people didn't understand why they weren't able to manifest something different, or they didn't really know who they were. They were still what I would call thought-based identity. They still thought the old beliefs and that we're going to move them to a new reality. Well, that's not likely. There was lots of things that had to change.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that and things. And I'd love to know more about all the different laws and things. So maybe that's another panel discussion. The laws of the universe. That would be another
And they're
a nice topic, and everyone's nodding. So let's do that. So thank you. And what about for you, Helen? I ask you, what for you, is there a difference between wishful thinking and the law of attraction? And maybe what are your indicators or signs that you're not quite in alignment with the law of attraction and just having a, I wish thought?
Well, if I can quote from one of my favorite Australian movies, The Castle, Sophia, it's the vibe. It's the vibe, and it's how you actually feel. So we can say things like, I love Facebook, but if we don't feel it, words are empty. So it's all about that feeling that are attached to the words. So wishful thinking can often, not always, but it can often be that, oh, look, I really wish I had ABC. And it comes from that feeling of lack, which is a lower vibration. And so if you're sending out the lower vibration, it doesn't matter what the words were that you said, it's the vibration you're sending out. So it can only give you back things on that same vibration. So wishful thinking, if it really comes down to how it makes you feel when you're making that wish. If the wish makes you feel excited, great. That's how you actually know you're in alignment. It's when you feel good about something, when you feel uplifted, when you feel hopeful, content, happy, joy, all of these things that make you feel good, that's when you're in alignment. And when you're vibrating at that level, then it has to bring you things at that same vibration. So this is what the ladies were talking about before, like attracts like. It's actually science as well. It's not just a woo-woo thing. Science understands this with energy, like attracts like. So if you're in alignment, you feel good. If you don't feel good, you're not in alignment. It's as easy as that. But recognizing it, and then you have the choice to either stay there or change your vibration, change your thought, change your feelings. And that's the exciting part.
Thank you. Thank you for that and for sharing that. And I get it. It's all about the feelings. Not really about the thoughts, the thinking, but all about feelings. And then we will go more into that. But can I ask Anna, what do you do, Anna, if for yourself or for other people that you're in contact with, but what do you do in moments of doubt? How do you maintain the faith in the law of attraction? Have you ever experienced, if you would like to share any personal experiences where what you've been wanting to attract, or if you've been practicing the law of attraction, hasn't quite happened? What do you do when you start doubting yourself, or do you start doubting?
Yeah, so a few things. I guess, as I was saying before, getting in that flow state. So I think again, like your energy, your vibe is so important. So practices to get you into a certain energy to begin with, I find really helpful. So meditation, dancing, anything somatic, anything that helps you stay in that state where you're more open, more receptive to your manifestations. With specific doubts, one thing that I think about and like to practice myself is holding place for that doubt. So I don't know if you've heard of internal family systems before, but it's basically a type of therapy where we're acknowledging different parts of the self, almost like we've got multiple personalities happening. So, and these different parts of the self hold energy, they hold thoughts, beliefs. It's similar to inner child work. So with skepticism or doubt, I like to say, okay, well, there's a part of me that is doubtful. There's a part of me that is so consumed with the way that it thinks, and or perhaps a part of me that is so used to being let down, for example, or things not happening. So just holding space for that part of the self, I think, is important. And that's different to saying, I'm not allowed to have doubt. I'm not allowed to be skeptical, because as soon as we say that to ourselves, then we're saying, if I have doubt, therefore that's going to ruin the manifestation, which then means I don't actually believe that in the manifestation. Whereas if we say, okay, there's part of me that doubts, but that's okay, then we're saying the manifestation will still occur. So we're actually in a state of belief despite the doubt being there. So there's also this beautiful quote. I think it's, I don't know if I pronounced her name right, but Florence Scovel Shinn. And yeah, one of her beautiful quotes is, the unexpected happens, my seemingly impossible good now comes to pass. So I absolutely love that, because she's holding space for the doubt. She's saying, part of me thinks it's seemingly impossible, and that's okay. That's part of it. And yet it still comes to pass. So I put little mantras around, and that's one of my favorite, or one that I share with people. Yeah, that's pretty much how I deal.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for the segue into the next question, which actually isn't on the list. So I'm just going to throw this out to actually anyone, or to Linda or Denise, if you'd like to start first, to bring you into, we're talking about feelings, which it's really coming down to what we're feeling, and that aligns us to whatever we attract. But where does mantras or affirmations, people talk about affirmations, you've got to, repeat this affirmation or have this mantra. Does mantras and affirmations play any part in the law of attraction, or is it just all feelings? Denise, because Denise has come off, and then Linda. Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, I think they play a big part, but again, like the ladies are saying, feeling has to come in with those words. If you're just saying it for the sake of saying it because someone's told you to say it, it's not going to work. It's not going to be a part. You actually have to feel it. And if there is some resistance to that, feeling it, then you've got to go to the emotion of why that feeling's there, because it's the emotions that we actually need to feel, not the feeling. It's the emotion that is the resistance, more or less. The law of attraction, I look at it as the law of attraction is our feedback. Like when we wish for something, it's not going to happen in the sense of I'm wishing for it. So a wish is something that goes out there and is never solid. It's just a wish. So it's about the statements we make, the affirmations we make. We've got to feel them and have that emotion backing it. So if my emotion is I want to have a beautiful home, but my emotion is saying, well, I've always been told I can't have what I want. And so it's finding that thread of where that emotion is coming from. And so you can feel and get curious. And I love how Anna said it. You hold yourself in that space of curiosity of where all those that emotion was felt. And you go to the core of that and you feel that to actually bring yourself into actually now believing, well, it is possible I can have. The possibilities are there for me, because I don't have that feedback anymore that I can't have what I want. So the affirmations are extremely important, but our belief system has got to follow it. Our whole heart has got to follow it. Our whole emotions have got to be there with it.
Absolutely. And as you were saying that, I could just feel that in my heart. And it's like, yes, it really comes down to our emotions. We can say stuff as much as we like, but if we're feeling the exact opposite, then it's not going to work. Instead, we'll attract what we're feeling. So
yeah, because sometimes our feeling comes from our logic. Oh, this is the way I'm supposed to feel. Yes. So you've actually got to come to your heart and feel the emotion of what does that feel like? What does that taste like? What does that look like? What, you know, the deliciousness of that whole statement. What does that actually mean to me? And if I have resistance, well, get curious about my resistance to it.
Thank you.
Oh, and where did that resistance come from? Was I told I couldn't have it, or did I just listen to somebody and say, oh, I'll own that and put that in my backpack of life and carry it forward with me?
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
sharing.
you.
Thank you, Denise.
Sophia, can I
Linda,
add
what about-
a little tip?
Yep.
Sorry, just on affirmations while we're talking about them.
Yeah.
I'll be really brief. If you're finding it's hard, because with women and hormones, they come into it as well. And sometimes we really believe our affirmations, sometimes we don't. So if you're in that phase where you're not feeling it, you're not believing it, a little thing that you can do is, instead of saying I am, because that's sometimes where the resistance comes in based on our deeper beliefs that Denise was talking about, you can switch it around and say you are. And even if you have to imagine somebody who you admire, but you're saying the words, you are amazing, you are successful, whatever your affirmation is, it switches it up. So it removes that resistance. But the really cool thing is that your unconscious mind doesn't know the difference between self and others. It doesn't know that you're not talking about yourself, but it changes the feeling that you have around those words. So give that a go if you're ever struggling with your affirmations.
Thank you, Helen. Thank you for sharing that and those tips. And for everyone who is watching, I do hope that you are like being aware of all these amazing knowledge and tips that everyone is sharing. So thank you for that. And Linda, can I ask you now, is there anything else that you would like to add to that? To, you know, what's the difference between affirmations and mantras and then working to, rather than feeling what we're wanting to attract?
Well, the thing I'd like to add is that many of the people I work with, they don't know how to feel. They've lost that connection with themselves because they've been led to believe it's weakness to show any feeling. And so they're so used to stuffing everything inside and not acknowledging anything. So sometimes it can be a little difficult when you're saying to people, you need to say the affirmation or the mantra, or you need to put out there what it is that you want, but you have to feel it. Because what if you can't feel it? Then they think there's something wrong with them. That's where affirmations can help. I think affirmations can help a lot, but sometimes I even find that people can't say the affirmations at all. So one of the things I like to do is get people to think about the experience that they want. So not the specific thing, right? I want to make more money, or I want to, I don't know, get a new house or whatever, but think about what that means in terms of experience. And try to, because that brings more feeling to it. It starts to allow them to be able to feel something when they've been that disconnected from themselves. And sometimes it can take a while for people to reconnect with themselves enough to allow any feeling to come in. And sometimes that can be very, very intense, and there can be a lot of fear around it. So I just wanted to kind of mention that, because some people can visualize something and feel it immediately, and some people find it a lot harder to do that. So if somebody is having that experience, it doesn't mean they can't use the law of attraction, doesn't mean it's not working for them. It just means there's deeper work that has to go on to get them to be able to reconnect with themselves emotionally. I would say I was one of those people. I was very much up in here, didn't allow myself to feel. And so it's quite a journey to get that back, to align yourself with those feelings so that you can actually fully feel them. It's quite a process, but I don't know if that helps.
It helps a lot. Thank you, because that was going to be one of my questions is, what about people who are unable to feel? And also, what about people who are unable to visualize? I'd really like to know, we're talking about feelings, but is it essential to be able to visualize, to be able to master the law of attraction?
Do you want me to jump in on that for a second?
Yes, please do.
Well, I'm one of those people who finds it hard to visualize. Some people see things in beautiful color, and see the whole thing. I don't. I know what it is. It's more like I know, I suppose you could say it's more of a thinking. I can write it, but I don't actually see anything visual, really. One thing that does help me is to create a vision board, because it's like I know it when I see it. So if I'm looking through pictures or magazines or something, and there's something that really speaks to me, then I can pull that out and use that as a visual, which will help me. Because if I just sit down and try to get that picture in my mind, I won't. It doesn't work.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for that. And is there anyone else who's got any experiences of, how being visual or not is connected with the law of attraction? Anyone else? Jenny, let's go to Jenny.
Yeah, for me, because clients come and say, I don't visualize, and that they're going to see absolute vivid pictures, or they're not doing it right unless it sounds the way somebody else has said. But the number of times I've said to someone, can you just close your eyes for a minute, and can you tell me now whether your fridge door opens left to right or right to left? And I actually haven't had anybody tell me that, no, I said, how did you know that? And then we start to find one of their operating systems of how they experience the world. And it's just a funny little one. I say, oh, did you go to the kitchen? Or, oh, no, it's just a bit of fun. And some of the guys who come as clients really have no idea of feelings at all. Sometimes I've got to start at where they don't want to be. They can talk about what they don't like, but to go to what they truly want is just too much of a stretch. It just puts them in overwhelm, and, we end up tapping them away, like just supporting them. So we're just going to start at where somebody's at and help them see it slightly differently. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And I don't know if I was the only one when you're talking about the fridge. I'm sitting here trying to figure out which way does my fridge open. Thank you for sharing that. And Anna, can we go to you? And if you want to add anything to that, you're more than welcome. But I'd also like to bring in the role of gratitude and appreciation. How much does gratitude have to play in the law of attraction?
Yeah, well, just quickly, I'll add to the visualization. So I guess for people who have difficulty with visualization, we can use all sorts of sensory aspects. So it doesn't have to be visual. So smell, for example, olfactory is the biggest trigger of association or memory. So sometimes I even like to associate a particular smell or a scent, an essential oil, with a thought of the manifestation. And then I just put a little bit here throughout the day, and then it just helps me ground back into the association to what I'm bringing about. Also just to feel it in your body as well, because ultimately, as the others were saying, feeling is everything, and we feel that in our physical body. So what would it feel like in our physical body if the manifestation were to occur? So if people have difficulty with visualization, there are all sorts of other tools that they can use. And sorry, I keep facing down here because my cat is deciding to be a little bit of a pain today, and he's crying for me.
Okay.
I'm trying to keep him occupied. So with gratitude, well, we know gratitude's the highest vibration, and if we're in that state of gratitude, obviously we're already in that state of thankfulness that it has occurred. And I like to use a little bit of Neville Goddard's work there, where he does the law of assumption. So he's saying we're not feeling the feeling, so gratitude, for example, in order to make something happen. We're feeling the feeling because it already is so. So instead of trying to bring something to us or make something happen, we're just shifting realities into one where it's already occurred. So that state of gratitude might be able to kind of ease in a little bit easier there. We say, well, it's already happened. Another thing I like to do, because sometimes it's hard to feel grateful for something that hasn't occurred yet, find things that we are just generally grateful for, as simple as I can breathe. And what does that feel like that I can breathe this air in? Or the state of relief. Sometimes if I have difficulty with gratitude, I'll just say to myself, what would relief feel like? If the manifestation were to occur, I would feel a sense of relief. And what is that like in my physical body? Because it's a little bit similar to the gratitude, or it can lead to gratitude. So if I feel so relieved that problem has been solved, that bill has been paid, then it's easier to feel grateful or in that state of thankfulness around it. So yeah, it's a little trick I like to use.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. And thank you for bringing in the law of assumptions. Well, definitely more laws that we need to talk about in another conversation. So thank you for that. And Denise, what about you? What's your experience with the role of gratitude or appreciation, and how it connects with the law of attraction?
Gratitude for me is no matter whether it's good, bad, ugly, beautiful, cutting, all those things are here to give us that feedback. So for me to have gratitude and everything that happens for me brings me closer to what I want to create in my world, in my life, in my day. Gratitude, yeah, it's a powerful, because there's no expectation on it. There's nothing beholden to it. It's a gratitude of just being, a gratitude of just what is. And I'll even say, gratitude is love, and we're either loving or unloving in life. And gratitude comes under that, the gratitude of things in our life. So if unloving things are happening to us, we have the gratitude of ourselves, especially, to be able to go, okay, so what is here for me? What is my attraction? Because we say the law of attraction brings us great things in life, but the law of attraction also brings us those things that we need to deal with in life. And some of them can be dark, and some of them can be painful. Some of them can be hurtful. And to get to the light of it, we have to deal with this law of attraction that is here for us to move through to get to those places we want to go. So the gratitude of also the harsher things that are happening in our lives are just, there's no holding to it, there's no expectation of it. It's just a matter of, how do I move through this? What do I need to come back and feel for myself and move through for myself? And this is what a lot of what I do with my clients is we go to the love and the unloving to create. That shows us the feedback to what the law of attraction, and then the gratitude that comes with that is so beautiful, because it's an opening to everything.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And it is so true, and how gratitude can open up so much. So thank you so much. And Helen, can I move on to you and ask you, we live in a world where it is very different from before, and it's changing so much. There are lots of challenges out there, whether it is personal or business-wise or, tech in today's world. How does someone who might be going through a lot of challenges, how can they leverage the law of attraction to help them overcome whatever challenges that they have?
definitely using things like gratitude and appreciation. And I love what Anna was saying before. Sometimes it's hard to feel grateful because, you know, especially when things are hard. And that's where using appreciation can be easier. So that whole, when, you know, we put pressure on ourselves, no, I should feel grateful, but right now I don't. So I'm looking for, so what can I feel grateful for? I'm grateful for my family. Oh, not really. I'm grateful for my, oh, no, not grateful for them either. Not grateful. No, can't do it. So, but you can always find something to appreciate in a situation. And that in itself is going to change your low level and bring it up to at least neutral. All right. So I can appreciate that my children are children and they're doing what they're doing. So it's kind of a neutral sort of a feeling. I can appreciate that, you know, the whatever's going on out in the world there is happening. And from there, you might be able to segue. And I'm grateful that over here, this is not happening for me. So it's about finding a way that you can put a different perspective on things as well, so that you're raising your vibration from down here to at least neutral. And don't try and jump up to something that's unattainable, because that's going to be, you know, you can't go from helpless to happy. You might have to go from helpless to hopeful to content to happy. And with the law of attraction as well, it's not about feeling ecstatic and over the moon about everything, because that's not realistic either. You know, it's about finding something that can at least get you to neutral. And from there, looking at, well, how can I just step up to just a better thought, a better feeling, and taking it in those little baby steps. So no matter what's going on in your life, in the world, being able to sort of just step back a little bit and remove yourself and see it for what it is, and try and find something to appreciate about it. You know, if you look at all the stuff that's going on over in the Middle East, it's horrible stuff. I can appreciate, though, that there are people who are trying to help resolve that. Does that make sense? So it's don't focus on that. It's about looking at, okay, well, what do I want and how do I want to feel and what can I appreciate about it? How can I raise my vibration up so that it's going to, the more that you can do that and keep your vibration up as well, it's like that's what you're sending out into the world. So Jenny was talking about energy, or might have been Linda, sorry, talking about energy. So what we send out, it sort of goes up into the ionosphere and it bounces back. So the more that you can keep your vibration up there, you're sending the good vibes up, the good vibes are bouncing back. And that does have an impact on the world as well. Did I even answer your question, Sophia?
I think you did.
Like
And
I
I
went
think you
a little
also
bit of
might
a
have answered the next question as well, or at least contributed to it. So thank you. So there is a difference between gratitude and appreciation. And I hear, you know, there's a lot of people in the world who may not be able to be grateful for things, but if you turn it around, reframe it, there's always something that we can appreciate.
Yeah.
Then we can slowly work up to being grateful for that.
Absolutely.
Thank
Absolutely. It's about just reaching for what you can, just reaching for a better thought, a better feeling.
Thank you.
And don't try and overstretch.
Thank you for that. Now, I've got one more question, which isn't on our list, and I'd like to go around to everyone. If you can offer tips, and we can work in, go on further what was Helen talking about with appreciation. But if you've got someone out there who is watching either the live or the replay, and they may be in a situation that they can't really change, because I know this is where Linda and everyone, I'd also love to talk about energy, how, you know, you might be with others and their energy is low. So your energy is low and your vibration is low, but you're wanting to do something about it, right? But you can't physically change the situation physically. So you're with others who their vibration is low. How do we all have tips for people on how we can raise our vibration so we're in alignment with what we're wanting to attract, in amongst others that may not wish to do that? So, and can we also at the end just share any gifts and any offers that you have for everyone who is watching? So, Jenny, we started with you this morning, so can we go back to you? Do you have any tips, any advice for anyone who is really wanting to raise their vibration, even though they might be living in a low energy area?
Yeah, and then that can actually even be in your own family home. You know, so I mean, sometimes how I respond, I just take a moment, just stop. How do you want this to go? And I might even count back 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 before I actually say something. But one of the big shifts for me personally was when things were really harsh and bad, and I kind of didn't even want to be here. I remember learning that it felt like life was happening to me. And when I finally got something twigged in my brain that said life was happening for me, there was a real shift in how I could view the challenges. So I could take personal responsibility for how I was feeling in that moment and deal with that instead of dealing with maybe somebody else's behaviour that actually was just showing me that they're in pain and they don't know how to do it any differently either. So I could be gentle there, stop for a bit before I respond, and then take ownership for how I was feeling so that I could grow into the person I choose to be. Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. And would you like to tell us a little bit about your business, and do you have any offers?
Yep.
What are you offering the
My
world?
soulinsights.com.au. I'm a Melbourne Australian girl, and I run soul quests and personal mentoring programs. I've been doing the soul quest for 4 years. That started with COVID. Someone said to me about Zoom. I didn't even know what Zoom was. And other than the mentoring programs, I've got what I call a remembering retreat. We're on 100 acres, and people can come live in or do private mentoring over 3 to 6 months because it takes time to change.
That's the time change. Thank you for that. Thank you. And Anna, what about your beautiful self? Do you have any tips for anyone who's listening who really wants to be able to master the law of attraction, but maybe living in a situation that isn't conducive to that?
Yeah, I think a few things, like your own practices to begin with. So as I mentioned before, meditation, dancing, being able to carve out time where, sorry, my cat, he wants to be part of this. So being able to carve out time for yourself. And even if you're surrounded by people, let's say you don't have much time on your own, as you're just waking up in the morning, to set an intention and to be with yourself in that moment. Dancing, also to be part of a group. So for example, I'm part of a great group and we meet once a fortnight. We do walking meditations, we have breakfast, we sometimes catch up for longer meditation days. So being part of something outside your immediate environment that is conducive to the energy that you want to be part of. I think community, and the right community, is really important. Another is perhaps just being aware as well. So when you're around people and you're experiencing their energy, or you're in an environment that's not conducive to kind of building and holding that energy that you want, to be able to just pause and recognize what's happening and then bring yourself back to yourself. So I sometimes tell clients just to put your hand on your stomach and just say, I'm just calling my energy back into myself. So just to bring yourself back to yourself, to remain in your frame. So yeah, there's some things that I like to practice, because it's hard sometimes and our environment's not always going to be in alignment with where we're at. However, if we do continue and practice the work, it tends to meet us where we're at. So just remaining steadfast in who we are and what we want, and we start to see changes. And there might be situations that, oh gosh, okay.
Your cat, I was
He
going
wants
to
to
say
play.
you're attracting your cat at the moment, but thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah,
Thank you.
it's okay. We've had lots of cats on our discussions. They tend to be attracted to them.
Yeah, because he doesn't normally do this.
Yeah. Yeah,
Thank
thank you. And just before we go on, would you like to share anything that you're offering? Now we have got everyone's links in the comments,
Yeah.
but do you have anything that you'd like to offer or any programs that you're running?
No, not at the moment. I was writing a very brief, short manifestation guide. So I got nearly to the end of that and then got sidetracked with other projects, but I will be coming back to that. But nothing at the moment. I do run sessions, but that's counseling sessions. But yeah, I don't bring too much of this work into my psychology because it's yeah, kind of sometimes they overlap, but yeah.
Sure.
So
No
nothing at the moment. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Cool.
you so much for that. And Denise, what about you? Do you have any tips for anyone out there who's, like I said, who's wanting to raise their vibration to really be able to master the law of attraction, but their environment is not that conducive?
Yeah, a beautiful thing that I learned when I was a child is that everyone around me, no matter how good, bad, indifferent it was there for me.
Mhm.
They were there. It's like the mirror projecting back at me. Okay, why am I reacting to this? So a beautiful thing is to get really curious about what is happening in your environment. Why am I reacting? What is causing me to react to this? What is the emotion that is attached to that? Am I reacting to that because I'm feeling not so great about myself? So it's about, okay, what can I do to bring my level of love towards myself up some more? How can I raise that vibration within me? Is about doing those things that, the dancing, the drawing, the writing, the music. There's so many things, the meditations, there's so many things out there in online nowadays that give us the opportunity to tap into, and we might go through a lot of them to find one that resonates where I am at that time. So it's about, for me, a lot of it was curiosity within myself. Okay, why did I react to that? Or why couldn't I hold myself back from that? What was my awareness in that? So it's really coming back to yourself and your own self-awareness, your own self-seeking, your own self-curiosity, and reaching out for those things, those mechanisms that helps you along the way, like what these ladies offer along the way, to be able to help me step more into myself, to raise my vibration higher. I've done, I did 5 years of high vibrational mastery work, and it's definitely a journey, and it's not straight to I get there. It's about, it's like if you look at mountains, they're up and down. So enjoy the view on the way, and feel all the emotions that come forward for it, because they're the beautiful messages there for us to seek ourselves and know ourselves deeply, intrinsically, emotionally, because we're emotional beings. We're not supposed to be locked away. We're supposed to feel everything in this moment. Why have I reacted to that? And it's not even, it doesn't become a conscious thing of saying, oh, why am I reacting to that? It goes, oh, okay, I reacted to that. What does that mean within me? Because it's never about the other person. It's never about the story or the situation or the event. It's about, okay, what is it for me to see, hear, feel, and know about myself even more, so I can raise my vibration to the joy, to the manifestation of everything that I want in my life. Like I said before, I'm the most important being on this earth.
Yes.
And you're the most important being on this earth. And we're connected through energy. So the energy I am is the energy you feel.
Yes.
Whether we know it or not, we feel each other's energy. And whether it's good or bad, we still feel it. And some of us feel it in so many different ways. It could be visual. It could be feel, like I get a lot of body feeling. So if someone's got something happening internal, I'll feel it. So, you know, that way. So we're all completely different. We're all unique to ourselves, which is the most beautiful thing. So know yourself deeply.
Absolutely. So, thank you for sharing that. And I'm just sitting here, wouldn't the world be an amazing place if we all, you know, valued and saw that we're all unique?
Well, I can't change the world, can I? But if I change myself, I change the world.
Yes. And I changed the way that I see the world. Thank you.
Absolutely.
How people can work with you? I said we've got all the links in the comments.
I'm very simple. I'm very simple. I do sessions, and I also go and do expos, and I love talking at expos. But I do sessions, and they're great value. They're $50 a session. I feel I've got one position left in that, so I like to do a 3 monthly, because I think that really cements people into getting into their direction, because I feel my work as an energy healer is I'm here to do myself out of a job with you. Because that's for me, my passion is that everyone on earth is able to self-heal themselves.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
And it's true. It is true. And I like that. I really like that. Again, imagine the world that if we all had the attitude or the awareness that we're here to do ourselves out of work by helping you.
Yeah. If you just want to chat, my internet is down at the moment because I'm rejigging it, my website, sorry. So I can put my email address up there, and if someone wants to have a chat, I'm happy just to chat to get them on their way. And if I'm not good for them, I've got plenty of you ladies that I can send them to,
we can
depending on which way they want to go. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. And Linda, what about your beautiful self? Do you have any last minute tips or techniques, any other tips that for anyone out there who is wanting to master the law of attraction, but is finding it a bit challenging depending on where they are?
Well, I think if you're in a difficult environment, the first is to recognize, as Denise was saying, it's really about taking responsibility for yourself and recognizing that what other people think, say, do, believe has absolutely nothing to do with you. So their actions are not about you, even though they may try to make it about you, but what is triggered in you from their behavior or whatever they say or do, that is yours. And that just is something that was already there that's been triggered. So if you're willing to look at that and say, okay, what's just been triggered in me? That's the thing I need to look at. But the other thing I think we often forget, and this I think has come partly as a gift of being around some very narcissistic people in my life, and that is the recognition that we can control if other people are, if we feel they're taking, manipulating, or using our energy or passing their energy onto us, which makes us not feel good and brings our vibration down. You can set an intention to not let that happen. You can be around someone who's a very toxic personality and set the intention that they will not be able to affect your energy in any kind of negative way. And if you have to do some kind of protection, energy protection, you can do that. But in my experience, you don't have to. Just setting the intention can be enough. But you get to control how other people influence your energy. You don't have to let other people influence your energy. So you can control that. So that's the piece that I would add.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
I just want to say to Anna, whenever I used to have cats, and whenever I did a topic like this, they would always want to come and be right here. So I understand that.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that, Linda. And can you also let people know a little bit about you and what you're offering? And I also believe that you are a tribe host for Sacred You.
I'm a tribe host of the Feng Shui Success Tribe, which is all about the energy in your environment and how that affects you, and how everything that's going on with you is reflected in your environment, and that can help you to bring about the change that you require in yourself by working with your environment. But on my website, I have a free membership where you can come. There are resources, can connect with others. I post something new on there every week. So if you just want to go to my website, you can sign up for that. It doesn't cost anything. It's a great way for you to start learning about energy and learning about what's possible, and get any questions answered if you have any. So
Thank you. Thank you for that. And last but not least, Helen, with your experience of the law of attraction, is there any other tips that you would have that or advice that you could give for someone who is, wanting to master the law of attraction, but is finding it a little bit challenging?
Yeah. So definitely you need to be a little bit selfish. All right. And I'm going to give you all permission to be selfish and look after yourself. So echoing what these ladies were saying, it's like you cannot give from an empty cup. Or you've got to look at, what am I giving? Is it something low or is it something high that I'm actually giving? Because we are always influencing people. So looking after yourself, first of all, being able to set boundaries, being able to say no, not buying into the conversation just because somebody wants to talk about how bad things are in their life. There's a time where, okay, well, listen, be empathetic, maybe offer some suggestions. But if it's an ongoing pattern, you are allowed to say, do you know what? Can we actually change the subject? And the thing that stops a lot of women in particular from being able to do that are the deeper things about, not wanting to upset people. There's that fear of not being liked, being rejected. You don't want to upset the apple cart, keep the peace, all of that sort of stuff. So these are the deeper things that you need to address within yourself so that it's easier for you to be able to set those boundaries. And, there was a person in my life who kept coming to me and complaining about a particular person all of the time. And I would try and help her, and I would try and give her suggestions of what to do, what to try, different things. There came a point, though, where I ended up saying to her, so, well, what are you going to do about it? Because at the end of the day, she is responsible for her life. I am responsible for my life. I can't make anyone do anything, but I can help bring them into that awareness and show them that they have a choice in the situation. So that actually shut it down. She didn't keep coming to me. And, and that was protecting my energy as well. I didn't want to spend all of that time being dragged down into that. So you've got to look after yourself, be selfish in the way that you are protecting your energy, that you're dealing with your own things that are going on that cause you to be triggered. Because when you do that, you are actually being selfless in the end, because you are raising your vibration. You are able to be the example for people. You are a walking, talking role model of what is possible. And that in itself gives people hope. So the more that you can keep your vibration up, protect your own energy, don't let things come in, be able to set those boundaries, you will then be able to have a bigger influence that is more of a positive influence as well. And that ripples out. So what Denise was saying, I can't change the world, but I can change me, which will change the world. So bring it back to you, ladies, and be selfish. Look after you. Okay.
I like that. Thank you. Thank you, Eva.
You're welcome.
Ever so much. And again, tell us about what you offer, and especially the Law of Attraction Tribe.
Yeah. So I offer a holistic well-being health across your mind, your body, and your finances, because you've got to be financially independent as well. and I run the Mastering the Law of Attraction tribe for the beautiful Sophia in her Sacred You group. So come along to that. I'm sure the link is going to be in the comments there. But we get down and dirty into it, and we talk about different things. And there's lots of techniques, there's lots of practical uses and things that you can implement to help keep that vibration coming up when it dips down. Keep it coming up. So come along, join the group. Where what day are we? Tuesdays at 8 a.m. Brisbane time.
Yes.
And yeah, lots of tips, lots of discussions, lots of practical stuff, and it's a very safe and open space where the ladies get to share what's actually going on, so that I can help them in real situations, not just hypothetical stuff. So I'd love to see anyone who would like to join us there.
Thank you, which is really important. And as you said, it can be very hypothetical, the law of attraction, but you're very practical, Helen, and I'd just like to take a moment and thank everyone, but really to honor you and thank you for bringing the Mastering the Law of Attraction tribe to Sacred You, where, as you've said, we get very, very practical. So thank you for that. And
You're
speaking of the Law of Attraction tribe and the Feng Shui Success tribe that Linda runs, that are all part of Sacred You, everyone is welcome to join us just for $1. Just for $1, you get 2 weeks to try out Helen's tribe and Linda's tribe and any of our other tribes. We've got roughly 20 other tribes, from Feng Shui to empowerment to business, empowered entrepreneurs. And even today we had our AI and automation tribe that you can also try out just for $1 US. And then after that, it's only $30 a month for whatever tribes that you like. And so that is all part of it. Plus, we have all our panel discussions. Coming up next in 3 days' time, we have Soulful Relationships, Exploring the Heart of Love. And I was going to say Helen's on that one, but Helen's not. Helen's back next week for Selfishness is the Start of Your Journey to Inner Peace. That is next week. So for Jenny, and for Anna and for Denise again, and Linda and Helen, thank you ever so much for joining us for this discussion. I've really enjoyed it. I'd love to go longer. I really think we need to go longer. So we have to have a Mastering Law of Attraction Part 2, or maybe the laws of the universe. That would be an interesting conversation that I would love to have. So we'll see about bringing that one very, very soon. Thank you to our beautiful Maymuna, who's been putting in everyone's links, and for everyone who is watching, whether it's live or the replay. If you are watching the replay, do put #replay on it for us, and check out these beautiful women. Connect with them, even if it's just for a conversation, just for a chat. Or other than that, come and join Sacred You and come and join Mastering the Law of Attraction tribe. We'd love to see you next Tuesday. All righty. Thank you, everyone, again for joining us.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Sophia.
Thank you.